this is Shireen Manalani, the Muse of the Message, and I have been talking and writing and trying to assist people with recognizing that good and evil are not as complicated as you think. Everyone wants to believe everything's a bunch of gray. No, it's not. If somebody is hurtful, then they are acting bad. If somebody is uplifting others, then they're acting good. If a spiritual tradition is telling you that you should love and forgive people and see the good and kindness in people, have gratitude for your life, have gratitude for the world around you, have gratitude towards others, and try to help others have happier, better lives and respect people, that's a good religion. If your religion is teaching you hate, to judge people, and to wish them off the planet, wish them dead or harmed or be your slave or something bad because people don't believe what you believe or feel what you believe or worship the way you worship, that's a bad religion. It's bad. It's malevolent. See, there's really benevolent and malevolent. And it's okay to start deciding what things are. A lot of people get really confused. Like they'll hear about like a spiritual tradition, like, oh, they're meditating. Maybe that's devil worship. That's ridiculous. Don't be so quick to think everything is devil worship because it's not from your interpretation of a book that you actually have a mistranslation of. Because a lot of those people thinking like, oh, I know what the Bible says. No, you don't. Unless you speak Coptic, you don't know what the Bible says. I'm sorry. But it's true. And so these ideas of judgment and hate. If you're acting in hate and judgment, that's malevolent. If you're acting in trying to find the good in things and the good in people and honor different traditions and faiths and look towards spiritual traditions that are uplifting and that bring people together and that honor unique differences but also have a goal of people living in a way that is about improving each other's lives and uplifting each other, that's benevolent. And it's really that simple. It's not complicated. And it's really weird how many people think that everything's gray and it's so complicated. No, it's not. And really what's going on is that people are not going to like what I'm going to say next. So, I just need you to have a teeny bit of an open mind because this is true. But from the beginning of time, they're like in the archaeological evidence and in mythology, there is just the same story all over the world. We just hear the same story of good and evil where there was like evil gods, which, they're probably just aliens with power that come to Earth and they want to hurt people, actually hurt them. And they want to torture people and they want to mistreat people and use them as slaves or sacrifice them or harm them. And then another group of gods, which are aliens with power, come and they fight them. They fight them for humanity's safety, or to save them from the evil ones. And then we want to look at this and go, oh, all of our ancestors were just crazy people hallucinating and whatever. Yeah, people did do a lot of psychedelic and psychotropic plant medicines and drugs and whatnot, and people were intoxicated quite a bit more because it just wasn't the same cultural stigma as there is now. But even within that, even taking that into consideration, you just cannot have that many cultures that far apart again and again and again repeating the same stories and just assume everyone was hallucinating and crazy. Clearly, gods or aliens with power have come to this earth and some of them harm humanity, and then other ones come and they try to stop them. They try to fight them for humanity's safety and to save us from terrible, evil, horrible, torturous things. So what's fascinating is that in between the times when this is happening, when there's active war of gods going on Earth, it appears that there are different gods and different beings that appear to humans, and they grant powers like magic genies. They grant them powers, or they give them information, or they assist them with something like a battle or leading towards where resources are, or something like that. And some of them ask for, give us attention, give us your energy. And it's like a form of prayer or meditation. Connect with us, commune with us, have union with us, and we will guide you. We'll guide you towards food and resources. We'll guide you towards safety. If the volcano is going to erupt, we'll tell you to go down to the water. If the flood's coming and the tidal waves, tsunamis, we'll tell you to come up the mountain. If the earth's going to shake and quake, we'll tell you to, come to this meadow. And this calling humanity to safety, this assisting them, this guiding them, has come from these, outer beings, power, or whatever. This has happened again and again and again. And what do they ask for? They ask for your attention. They ask for your prayer. They ask for connecting with them, communing with them, and acknowledging them, believing in them, belief. And some of them ask for song and dance. That's all pleasant. That's all fine. If you're gods, goddesses, deities, aliens, whatever it is, if they're asking you for meditation, for prayer, for gratitude, for celebration, for music and dance, for burning some incense, or putting a little offering of food, or a little drop of, not your whole food, just a drop here and there, just to honor and have gratitude and symbolize that there is an appreciation to a greater, grander force, power that is assisting you. That's benevolent. Okay. If your god, goddess, aliens, outer connection to creator, whatever, if they're asking for blood sacrifice, that's malevolent. It's that simple. If they're asking for pain and suffering, if they're asking you to hurt someone else as part of your mission, that's malevolent. If they're asking you to build a golden calf and stuff live children in it and light them on fire, that's malevolent. And you're like, yeah, but we needed to win the war, or we needed to overcome our enemies, or we needed food, we were starving to death, or the fire was coming and we needed rain to put out the fire. And so we did these weird, creepy things because they're, and you think, like, was everyone crazy on earth that they really thought that building some kind of bull image and stuffing live children in there and lighting them on fire while they played drums and burned incense, that this was going to do something weird? Like, everyone was that crazy? No, everyone was not that crazy. It's that actually worked. They actually got in tune with some kind of evil, demonic, malevolent, horrible force of illusion. It is illusion. It's not real. When you leave this realm, when you get out of this molecular density, you find that's not even real. But in this molecular density, it's very real. Pain is real. Suffering is real. Torture is real. Death is real. Like, these things are very real. And so these gods, which are devils and demons and evil aliens that work with pure malevolence, with sinister objectives and motives, when they ask for crazy things like that, and then people give it to them and they grant them little wishes, like they win their battle or they find food or whatever the stupid thing is, okay, that worked that way, but you could have been putting energy and attention and connection towards a benevolent being, and they also would guide you and grant you something and assist you and whatnot. And even if they didn't, when you die, your soul would be intact and in connection and commune with something good. But part of the problem is it's not an all day, everyday game. Like, everyone wants to believe that. And okay, the sun, our sun, does shine upon, like, the just and the unjust, the wicked and the, the selfish and the altruistic, or whatever. I don't know what the phrases are. I've heard actually a lot of different phrases that discuss that, about the sun shining on the just and the unjust and the wicked and the righteous. I think it is the same. No, it's not really the same. It shines on them, but not the same. And for those who are in connection with the malevolent and benevolent forces and energies in nature, they can understand like you actually are connecting with a different, I don't know if it's like a dimension or if it's a relationship or just something different. The sun is different for people who are connecting with something outside of them that is malevolent versus something that is benevolent. The plant world, the wind, everything actually operates with you differently when you're connected with malevolence. And so this idea of like, oh, we were desperate and there was no other choice. We had to actually build a bowl and stuff live children in there and burn them alive. No, no. There was always another choice. That is so creepy and ridiculous. Now, I know if someone's listening to this, like, what are you talking about? What I'm talking about is that this is actually going on today. There are people around us that actually torture and rape and murder and drink the blood of children. I know that sounds like way out there crazy, but it's not. The sad thing is that when I was a child, I actually understood about another timeline and another time and space in the universe far, far away, where there was a war over exactly that going on. And it didn't occur to me that that could possibly be already going on in this timeline and in this world, but it is. And I was pretty young when I started understanding, oh, whoa, that's already repeated here. So this is an age-old problem. This goes way older than our world. And it's too mind-blowing and too horrifying for most people to even be able to accept. And that's a big part of how it happens, is like no one can accept that anything that ridiculously bizarre and gross would be going on. I mean, good-hearted people are like, nah, nothing like that could be going on. That's full-on crazy. And so they don't do anything about it. They don't try to use their power, their influence, their connection to the benevolent divine to try to do something about that. And that's where I'm not trying to ruin your reality or traumatize you or put such a horrible, horrible image in your mind that you don't sleep well at night. I actually think it's very important to sleep well at night. I have a lot of discussions about that. And I never want to traumatize people. I think that's horrible. I believe that we should give children very positive media and stories and influence when they're young so they can have a safety net around their psychology and they can grow up to be healthy and functional and they can build a better world because they know what that world's about. So I'm all about that. But I'm designing this for grown adults and, anyone listening to this who's listened this far in, I want you to entertain the reality that there are still people in this modern day and age. Okay, and when I say people, I don't mean like some crazy cult that has like a few people and they meet in a basement somewhere. I'm talking like actual people who run, major companies or organizations or world governments or, maybe someone, God forbid, anyone in your personal life. But this trend is, had a resurgence and it's come with a vengeance. It's not just a few freaks out there doing some weird ass thing. There's just a major movement on this planet for people to be worshiping what we used to call like Baal or Moloch. And it's very important that whatever people call it, I don't care if they call it, the kitchen sink, anyone who is actively worshiping malevolence and doing sinister, diabolical, atrocious, unfathomable, disgusting things, we need to stop them. And we just need to understand they are mentally ill, they are possessed by devils and demons, they are incapable of making good choices, and we need to stop them by any means necessary because this is a world that the intellectual property rights to this world is related to benevolent divine. If you look inside your eternal core, you will find you are connected to the benevolent divine. You are not a part of this evil, horrible thing that is going on. And so because that is truth, and if you don't understand, I could go into great detail on that, and in some lectures and topics and articles, I do go into great detail on that. If you need a refresher on why I believe that you could find your benevolent eternal core is benevolent and good, and that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. We can discuss that in detail. You can message me. I can send you other materials. I can look for that stuff. But for right now, just, believe me, I can prove it to you that there's enough good in this world to believe that the seeds of the universe are benevolent, and the purpose of existing is a good one. And the reason to have expression in molecular density is from a benevolent inspiration and intention to have life and have something that has a beginning and a middle and end, because it's so beautiful and whatever. I can go into great detail and I can prove this to you, but for just right now, just humor me and give me, what is that called? Some kind of belief. I'm blanking out, sorry. Suspended belief, sorry. To just move on to the next topic, which is that there should not be any actual human beings actually thinking that they can torture someone else and sacrifice them and do something terrible. And for those of you who identify with the metaphysical God and the metaphysical concept of the Christ consciousness, you know that that message, and if you don't resonate with that, give it a chance. I'm not talking the really hokey people who are misinterpreting ancient texts into English, and they think they know everything, and they think that, they're worshiping, anyway, I do lectures on that. I don't want to get into all the theology right now. Just trust me. I'm sorry, I'm going to segue out of my own thing. Just give it a chance to consider that part of the message is no more blood sacrifice. That was part of the message. And part of why it's the idea that like Christ is the last of the blood sacrifice, and that this is the final forgiveness for this original sin, which you can interpret that a lot of different ways too, but that there was something that happened with that Christ consciousness that relates to the end of sacrifice and the end of blood sacrifice, and yet everyone was born still, thank goodness, and hope the day will never come that's not true, but everyone was born from a mother. And I'm sorry if your mother wasn't loving and wasn't embodying the benevolent divine and didn't give you the love and support, didn't hold you, didn't nurse you, didn't, love you. I'm very, very sorry. That's the worst thing that can happen to a human being, honestly, is to be born to a woman that was so mentally ill or traumatized or injured or just sick or incapable of providing natural, basic love. And I think that is like so horrible. And but most people were born to someone who's like kind of okay at it, at least, and tried their best. And because of that, and maybe I say most people, maybe it's not true anymore. At one point that was true though. At one point humanity lived in, more communal villages, and even if the woman whose body you came out of wasn't as capable, you had an auntie or a cousin or a grandma or somebody who was capable of giving you maternal support and love. But we need to return back to what about that is fundamentally a part of humanity, which is that is the blood sacrifice. When you're born through the blood of the womb and through the blood of, even if you were cesarean, you came right out, whatever way you came out, it's you came through the blood of your mother, and that was the last blood sacrifice. And so after that, and that's, I believe Christ's message really included that, and people misinterpreted that. I think it's all intertwined. But I only look at like really, really old scriptures that are in totally different languages that are, people don't want to look at that and face reality of where that all came from, but that's your problem. And if you don't identify with that at all, that's fine. You can be an atheist and still understand what good and bad is, you can still understand that you don't need to torture children and suck their blood. That's just the weirdest thing. I mean, I can't even believe I'm having this conversation with humanity, but seriously, it is happening, and we need to just quickly get out of denial, and like it's an emergency, we all need to rise up. Everyone that still has connection to their benevolent divine soul, everyone that understands that. I mean, as I'm saying, you could be an atheist, doesn't really matter. I don't care what your problem is on the other side of that. I wish you would give chance to yourself. I wish you could believe in yourself enough to know that you're an eternal being and that you're birthed in that same consciousness. Like anything that is good in this world, that's what you're connected from. That's what you're made of. We are stardust, we are golden. You know, a lot of music has been trying to lead you to that reality. And a lot of spiritual traditions have been trying to lead you to that reality. A lot of meditative practices, even art, like expressing through music, dance, painting, acting, these mediums, they all are trying to connect you to your benevolent divine and remind you of your divinity, of that you're part of something that is a bigger, greater, grander, universal truth about, you know, just something bigger. It's what they say, you know, the all that is, or the universe, or the God presence, or the God goddess, or the creator presence, or whatever that is. You know, whatever that is, that's enough. That's all you need, you know, and for that should be enough power and strength. And it's like, I'm kind of segueing, like, what do you mean that's all you need? What I'm saying is that if you can connect with that at all, then you are good enough to be part of the solution. And I think part of the solution is we need to get out of denial that there is a war that's between good and evil, and we need to start fighting for good. And when I say fighting for good, it's like, huh? Wouldn't good not fight? I thought thou shalt not kill. And that's probably the dilemma, is the good guys don't fight, and the good guys don't kill, and the good guys don't sacrifice. And so the bad guys just kill the good guys, and the good guys pray. And that's been a terrible thing that's been going on for ages. Sorry. And I think the solution is that we need to get out of denial, and we need to empower each other to get out of denial and face that we're in a serious crisis. The soul of humanity is in a serious crisis, and the only way to win is not going to be through denial. It's going to be through empowering each other. It's going to be through coming together. It's going to be through bonding in remembering our divinity, remembering we're part of the good that is light, and that is creation, and that is also darkness, and that is water and fire and air and earth, and that we are that. We are the living water, we are the living fire, we are the living air, we are the living earth. And we connect with one another to bring joy to one another, to remind each other of our benevolent divine, and to make other people feel happy and good, not in a self-sacrificing way, but in a way that's good for both people. Like I painted a beautiful picture and I give it to you as a card, and I had fun painting it, and I feel proud of myself and I love it. And I'm like, yay, I painted this thing. It's so cool. And I'm giving it to you. And then you're like, you look at it, and you're like, oh my gosh, you made that for me. That's so amazing. Like, thank you. I can't believe you put this time into it, you know, and this is the exact like tree that I grew up near, and it reminds me of something cool, or whatever it is, you know. I'm just using that as a really weird example because I think on a more profound level, that's what our existence is. It's a gift to give other people. It's a greeting card that says like, hey, I enjoy these kind of jokes, and I enjoy dancing like this, and I enjoy singing like this, la la la, or whatever, and I enjoy, you know, bringing happiness and joy and learning and inspiration to young people. And this other people really enjoys working with older people, and some people enjoy working with, you know, grown adults or whatever. And reminding each other that we're all part of a cosmic dance of something that is been painful, but we were supposed to be growing out of that and getting better. And instead, we've like really backslid. Like, there's actually people running around this world worshiping demons. This is so mind blowing. I know every time I say it, it sounds like fiction, and yet I've actually found evidence of this more than, I don't know, 100 times or something, and it makes me feel like, oh no, it's over. Humanity's doomed. There's nothing we can do. But that's not true. I wouldn't be here, if that was true. And you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be listening to this. I don't know if this is how many people it's gonna find, but if this finds you, it's because I'm telling you there is something we can do. And what that is first of all, acknowledging that something sick and twisted and crazy and evil is going on. And then number two, that we can do something about it. And it's not about hiding and pretending it's not going on and being like rose colored glasses. I'm just going to sit around and make greeting cards for my friends. I'm not saying that. That's where the fight comes in. That's where it's like we're going to have to do something. And if thou shalt not kill and we can't fight and whatever, we're going to have to be more creative. We're going to have to get to the point where we have more of a collective consciousness of power, where we actually find a way to fight that, and we find the way to rescue children from psychopaths, and we find a way to stop the powers that be who are trying to take over the world by using the most evil, diabolical ways possible. But back to what I started with, which is why are they doing it? Because that actually works. You get granted evil wishes, and you get granted power, and you get granted information and little weird, creepy, like gifts and stuff. And so the other way also works. And that's where I keep saying, like, I wish you would give the Christ consciousness a chance. And if not, that's okay. Still find what is equivalent. What is equivalent is you have to double down and make sure that you root your life, your efforts, your beliefs, your truths in a better, brighter, bigger universe that is about love and about kindness and about benevolence and about connection and about interconnectedness and about uplifting those who are less fortunate, being grateful for where you're privileged, and then actually taking an action to uplift those who are less fortunate. And we're going to have to build little coalitions and armies to rescue people, rescue children from these evil cabals, and stop it in every way we can. And in the ways we'll do that is also to invoke the benevolent deities and aliens and whatever you want to believe, the God presence that comes through an angelic realm or comes through healers or comes through into the physical world. I know some people like to think of God as like a Zeus in the clouds that throws lightning bolts down, that other people who believe that God is the all that is and the deeper, brighter, bigger universe that we can barely understand, that may then take like, well, how does that presence, it's already here and it's already everywhere, how do we then materialize it? How do we then actualize it? And that's where we may need to call in for what traditionally has been called like patron saints or guardian angels or your soul guides or whatever that is, to actually guide you to figure out what your part is in this war, in this battle, what action items you are being called to do. Because it's both. It's making sure that you're flowing that and that you are a worshipped, dedicated devotee to benevolent divine. And that may look different for different people. You may use different words or languages for that. I'm just trying to speak as neutrally as I can to all the religions of love and all the faiths of that, and then to the atheists as well. And we just need to bond together and know that the benevolent divine is the all that is, and everything else is illusion, and it's bad and evil. And so first, that's the first step one. And then step two, as I said, is getting that message about where you're being called for action. And then you do that action, and ideally you don't do it alone. Ideally you start forming groups, and with those people, the other people, you use your power, your privilege, your voice, your resources, your wisdom, your information, your knowledge, your skills to start figuring out how we're going to fight those who are actually worshiping demons, because they're getting power from that. And we need to do something about it quickly and collectively together to fight that. And also, there's another component to it, which is, like using your sixth sense and your psychic abilities, and using magic, and using the force, and using like airbending or waterbending or whatever, like those things that you saw in kind of like the Hollywoodized things, but that it's real. And there's a lot of people around us that can do like what used to be considered magic. I mean, we should be beyond that to know, like, okay, if it's real, then it's not magic. Like, it's just some weird ability that this person or that person has. But a lot of people around you actually have supernatural abilities. And I do discuss that a lot. I lecture on that. I write on that. I've done workshops and stuff for people to help with children that have abilities and whatever. And there's like sixth sense abilities, and there's like physical abilities. There's just some people that just have supernatural abilities, and we need to start encouraging that. We need to call it out of each one of us. Each person has some connection to their supernatural abilities. And then there's other people that you could empower by acknowledging them, encouraging them, and helping them utilize, figuring out what direction to channel that power and that energy into. And we need to form armies of support and of transformation and transmutation, where we do something better and we improve the world, and we put our powers together, and we know that we came to this world during this time period to work together on this and to be a part of this. And we can do that. We can actually win by applying this truth and this knowing and this power, and again, calling in something outside of us, supernatural, working together, calling it up within each one of us, taking actions, being willing to. And some of it may be uncomfortable. I mean, I love to use these fruity, beautiful words, but some of it might be like, actually having to call authorities on someone, and then actually having to follow through and make sure the authorities do their job and don't let someone be harmed. And some of it may be intervening, and some of it may be trying to save someone who is turning to the turning to the malevolent, sinister, dark side and worshiping a demon, and actually help them come out of that. We might have the ability to do that. I've known people who really were going in the wrong direction, and they turned around. It's amazing. But I knew many people who've shared with me their personal story of like going in the direction of hate. The most common one I've heard, just that is the easiest to share, was very sad, but people who were, they embraced racism to the point where they were willing to like actually harm, or, sorry, it's really hard for me to speak about, but actually just go and like violently attack someone just because they were the wrong whatever, and then they were saved themselves, and they changed, and they recognized how horrible that was that they had done that, and they were willing to share that. And it's really hard to imagine that someone could lose their soul that much, that they would just hurt someone for being different and looking different or loving differently or just something, But to think that someone could get that far gone and find themselves and realize what a horrible thing they'd done, and then actually try to share that with someone else and admit that's really big. It's really big that someone could do that they could admit, like, they got on the wrong side of things. They lost their way and they feel ashamed, and yet they changed. And it's interesting because some of those people have actually then become like youth counselors and educators or youth mentors, and tried to save someone before they did the wrong thing, before they let their heart and soul turn to the dark side like that. And I don't want to say the dark side, I mean the evil side, the malevolent side. And they tried to save someone else before that person lost their own mind and soul and hurt someone out of racism or prejudice. And I think that's really, really sad and really beautiful that they tried to stop someone else from feeling that kind of pain and confusion to express it by harming another human being for no damn reason whatsoever. I would love to believe that everybody could be rehabilitated and that everybody could turn around like that and then try to be part of the good guys, part of the people who would then help stop that from happening to someone else, especially wanting to help a young person before it happened to them. Because think, if you really did do something so terrible like that, I'm sorry, it's really hard for me to talk about, so I'm thinking of a few people in particular. And the fact that I know more than one person is just so sad, because we grew up in a really open-minded, amazing time and place where it was actually considered the least prejudiced place and time in the world that has ever existed, ever. And growing up in that, to believe that, some of the people that I knew when I was younger actually went from being blessed and privileged to experience the absence of prejudice in a community, in a large community. It was what's called the Valley of the Heart's Delight, and then it was the beginning of Silicon Valley. And believe it or not, in the very beginning of Silicon Valley, it was considered the least prejudiced time and place that has ever existed on Earth, ever. And yet, even in that, some people actually grew up to go and actually violently hurt someone because they weren't like them. But some of those people were able to recover and find their soul again enough that they wanted to go help other people not go through that and not experience hurting someone and not doing such terrible things, but also to not lose their way. I know I've just said that and I'm repeating myself, but it is so shocking to me when people get possessed by demons. And that's what I'm going to call it, honestly. When good people do terrible, evil things, I don't believe it's really their own soul. I think they have let go of their own body and soul, and they've let an evil demon come through and use them like a marionette and do something horrible to someone else using their body and using their hands and their words and their mind. And I think that's what's happening in this world, is there's a lot of possession going on. And those of us who are removed from that are in denial. People who are really, really good people who can't even fall apart like that, we're just in denial. So the people who maybe are so protected from that and they're not capable of falling to that level, excuse me, it's disgusting, I'm sorry, they're in denial. So all these people running around in denial, unfortunately, are part of the problem. It's time to get out of denial. It's time to recognize that something diabolical and terrible is going on. And the only way to stop it is to be part of the solution. It's again invoking something good, getting out of denial and recognizing there is something really, 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 really wrong and evil and horrible going on, and deciding and committing to being part of the solution by not just meditating and prayer, that's part of it. Not just being good and making sure you do good, that's part of it, but also being willing to actually address that there's some terrible things going on and seeing where do you have power or influence or the ability to be a change agent, to fight for the cause of good. Where do you have the ability to make a difference in this world and to stop something evil from happening? Please do so. And please reach out to other people, and please become a part of some kind of community and a bigger movement or coalition. And don't get so confused into like, oh, I'm going to fight against war and I'm going to fight against war by hating a group that's defending themselves, which I saw a lot of happen in the last 2 years. And it's just, that's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to stop people from actually torturing and drinking the blood of children, or going and beating up someone because they have a different sexual orientation or a different color skin, or, the political side is really hard. The global political side, if you're an American or a Westerner, you just don't understand it. Maybe stay out of it. That's the best advice I can give you. But as far as local, like, we continue in America and the Western world to elect leaders that are not proving to us that they even understand what the benevolent divine is. And I'm not saying that they're part of the religion that you identify with. I'm saying literally, they don't seem to be capable of pulling out of the system enough of whatever they're born into, because a lot of them are born into it. It's not their choice, but they're not able to recognize what's going on with the rest of humanity. I'm going to call out a president we had a long time ago. Doesn't seem that long ago to me. Seems like 5 minutes ago. But we had a president that was so far removed from what the average person is going through that his PR campaign people thought it would be a great idea to take him to the grocery store and let him, like, kiss babies and shake old people's hands or whatever, politicians used to do back then. And they took him to the grocery store, and he just stood there looking at the scanner thing that was like boop, boop, boop. And he was like, what is it? What's going on? How does it work? And the PR person was like trying to move him around, like, hey, go kiss babies and shake old people's hands. Stop looking like an idiot in front of everyone. And he couldn't do it. He just sat there looking like an idiot. Apparently, he'd never been to a grocery store before. Let that sink in for a minute. The fact that we elected a president that had never been to a grocery store before, yeah, how's that person going to make decisions about the rest of us and our lives and our food and what's going on? They can't. They can't. Not because, even if they wanted to, even if they had the right intentions, you have to have some understanding of what real people experience in real day-to-day life to be able to help real people. And so, our political world is just a mess, and I don't have a lot of faith that it's a clean system, that it's not so corrupted that even if, I'm not even sure who we elect even gets in there, and the candidates they're giving us are all cousins. It's just ridiculous. And fact check me on that one, because I'm correct, but that's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking for something bigger. I'm asking for coalitions of good. I'm asking for people to dedicate themselves to a better world by every means possible, by every force of power that everyone who hears this message has. Rise up and know you're here to help be a part of something good, something beautiful, of where humanity turns it around and we stop people who are torturing children, because that's really, really creepy. That's like as creepy as it gets. And, people are worshiping demons for favors. That's gross. Like, you don't need those favors. Like, what? What do you need it for? What do you think you need anything for? What do you think you need anything in this world enough to have someone else suffer for you to get a token of something? You just don't need that stuff that much. And then it's like, oh, but what if it's like in the middle of war and you actually need something? Well, then try your best to pray to the, the good guys and to the force of good. And if you lose and you die, at least you die with your sanity and your soul. I mean, give me a break. There's nothing. This thing is nothing. No amount of fame or fortune or power or resources or anything should be worth considering compromising even a teeny tiny bit towards hurting someone else for something you would gain. That's not okay. And I know people do it on a small level. I just did a video right before this on infidelity or whatever, or corruption in business or something. I know that people think those are small levels, but it's all part of it. It's those are small levels, and whether someone's doing it on a big level or a small level, like maybe you can control the small level in your life, but just start working on that as you work on the big stuff too. It's not about just work on your life and then let the world fuck itself. Excuse my language, but really, it's important for everyone to utilize every bit of power you have to dedicate yourself towards being a good guy, being on the good guys team, and recognizing that there is a war between good and evil, and you have to fight. You have to get involved. You have to do better. You have to do something, You have to empower those directions that are going to work for a better, brighter future. And no matter how it plays out, you'll at least have that. You'll at least have that you tried and that you were on the right side of things, and that you're not going to just stand by while people are literally worshiping evil demons and trying to torture children to death to drink their blood. Like, give me a break. That's just gross. I know that sounds crazy. And you're like, wait, I thought you were talking about, basic stuff like don't do a bad thing in business or don't be prejudiced enough to hurt someone because they're different from you. That too. Talking small to large, all of it. Just please, if this in any way resonates with you or touches your soul, just know that you do have some power. You do have a moment where your voice is going to be heard. You do have something you could do with your hands to help someone. And you do have an opportunity at some point in your life to find out about something terrible. And instead of shunning away from it, like, oh, that's too evil for me to look into what's going on, go ahead and just keep your eyes open, keep your mind open, and let yourself get exposed to something, even if it traumatizes you a little. If you can do something about it, and sometimes finding out about something really does do something, take this moment of like encouragement that I believe in you. I believe you can do it. I believe you're here on earth because you are that powerful, and you're living in this time period because you're part of the good guys team. And even if you've done something in your own past that was like really bad, that you could rise up and help now stop that from happening. You can tell the truth. You can let someone know, like, there's criminals that have helped criminologists figure out how to stop other people from being harmed, and there's victims who've been harmed who also help empower the investigators to like save someone else or whatever, like whatever it is. I could give 1,000 million examples. It doesn't really matter. Whatever it is for you, just please know that I believe that you have more power than you realized, and I believe you're here because you're part of the good guys team. And I believe that if you listen to me babble on and on like this, that
something in this is resonating with you. And I believe that if we just give this kind of idea a chance, we'll win. We'll win it. We'll turn it around. We can do it. Yeah. And we'll at least die trying. So, forgive me for talking about upsetting things. Forgive me for the times that I have not done my part. And I'm just trying to encourage you to know that I believe that you're powerful enough to do something. And I believe that you're here because we're on the same team. And I need encouragement. I need support and help when I go to bat, when I go to battle. And if I can encourage you and support you and believe in you, then this is that message. And also, I'm a real person. And so if you see me and know me in the real world, yeah, I'm going through some crazy things. I'm trying to fight some big stuff, and not doing, I'm not winning it as easily as I'd like to be. And that's why I'm putting this out to other people as well. And I want to, I want to utilize my strengths and powers to help more people. And I want to encourage you to do the same. And who knows, maybe this message is enough to give you a little extra strength that maybe will help you, I hope. And anyway, just thank you for listening to all this.